The days of resting on your laurels is gone. We've got to be proactive to keep it sustainable, no doubt about it. Welcome to Out Here with the Legends. I'm Dr. Jody Wade, a professional services veterinarian with Boehringer Ingelheim, and I'm surrounded by three distinguished guests that I'd like to introduce to you. Mr. Buck Rich, who runs and operates this commercial operation that we're on, Leaning Oak Ranch here in Okemah, Oklahoma, with about 2,000 cows. Dr. Matt Washburn, who is a professional services veterinarian with Boehringer Ingelheim as well, and then Dr. Tyler Thomas, who is an owner and operator of Prague Veterinary Clinic here in Prague, Oklahoma. So welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. I'd like to get your thoughts, maybe a simple word or two words. What pops into your head when you think about parasites?
For me, parasites equals economics. You know, I look at the economical impact that they have on our operation. You know, everything from treating them to effects of, you know, that they can cause damage.
Silent thieves, that's kind of what I think of. Stealing from you when you don't realize it.
Wasted inputs, wasted grass, wasted feed.
And they really are silent. That's the worst part. When you think about long-term parasite control, one of the things that we like to discuss with a lot of our producers now is the 4 pillars. So I'd like to go through the 4 pillars, and we'll make it a joint effort as we talk about it and go through this. So Dr. Washburn, when you talk about the 4 pillars, can you kind of give us an overview of what the 4 pillars really are?
Sure, Dr. Wade. The dewormers that we have, that's kind of what we have, and we've got to make them last. So the idea behind the 4 pillars is just to create some sustainability with these drugs. First pillar I'll talk about is the diagnostics. We're going to use diagnostics to help design our treatment protocols, how we treat the parasites. We're also going to use them to help monitor our parasite control programs. Combination therapy, that's another pillar. That's where we're going to use 2 different dewormers from 2 different classes that kill the parasite and by a different mode of action to get a more effective kill. Refugia is another pillar that we can talk about, and that's basically leaving a portion of those parasites unexposed to our dewormers, so we have a susceptible population of parasites on that operation to dilute out resistance. And then just overall management, how we manage our pastures. That's the last pillar, how we manage our pastures, how we manage the cattle, herd health-wise, vaccination, nutrition. Those are the 4 pillars. They all kind of go hand in hand with one another.
Bucky mentioned diagnostics. How do you implement diagnostics on a ranch this size?
Diagnostics for us would be, you know, mainly fecals. We'll pull fecals, send them to Dr. Thomas.
Has it been eye-opening seeing some of the results that you've seen?
It has been. Recently, we sent some fecals in. You know, I had some cows that we thought we had on a really good treatment plan. Cattle didn't look quite as good as I thought they should. Pulled some fecals, sent them in.
I really thought we were going to have an issue with intestinal parasite worms.
If we hadn't sent those fecals into him, I mean, we were already, you know, making a plan on how to act on them cattle, and, you know, was going to worm again. You know, we're send those fecals in. He said, hey, this isn't your problem. So, you know, for an economical standpoint for us, I mean, that would have been, you know, wasted money on wormer and wouldn't have helped our problem. And so I think diagnostics it's an important tool to use and can definitely help, you know, get you on the right path a little quicker.
That's a great point. Without the diagnostics, it would have been easy to point the finger at the dewormer that you were using at the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the second pillar that Dr. Washburn brought up was combination therapy. And you know, when we talk about combination therapy, I think Matt described it very well. It's where we're using 2 totally different products as far as their mode of action is concerned and how they kill parasites. And when you start implementing some of these combination treatments, and talking to producers about it, it's sometimes the first thing that pops up is, oh, now I've got to use two, and this is going to cost me money. Buck, when you look at combination treatment here, what does it look like in this operation, and have you seen a positive effect from it?
We have. We actually, to back up a little, we went away from combination treatment. We used to. We'd do a white wormer and injectable. Once a year we would do a combination, and then we would do something else in the whether it be spring or fall. We went away from it for a little bit. We went back to it here recently, and we've seen a drastic change. Hair coat is better. The cattle look better. I really think it's worth it for our operation. The fecals have proved that as well, and so I really like the results we've been getting out of it.
That's awesome.
I think, and I mean, maybe Dr. Tyler can speak to this, but when we talk about combination therapy, there can be some initial sticker shock. Guys be standoffish a little bit, but
Oh, I get it. I don't like paying two price tags for what should do the same thing. Kicker is it's not doing the same thing.
Yeah.
right.
And
That's right.
And so it from a producer standpoint, once you try it, I mean, the results that you see, there's really no denying.
Tells a story, yeah. Dr. Thomas, when you're talking to your producers about using combination therapy for the first time, that's a pretty tough discussion though, right?
Yeah. Anybody that's going from a single class to combination therapy, they're almost always on a macrocyclic lactone and they're adding a white wormer to it. And it is very economical. It's not super expensive, but it's really not that hard, and it's well worth it.
Third pillar, let's talk a little bit about refugia. Dr. Washburn, if you don't mind, could you talk to us just a little bit about refugia, because I know that's a subject that most producers will get a blank look on their face when you bring that subject up, because it is kind of a hard concept to understand.
Sure, and we're talking about leaving some of those parasites unexposed to our parasiticides. So that means choosing some cows or some cattle to not deworm. And our conventional line of thinking with a lot of our cattlemen, it's we're going to deworm everybody when we work cattle. So, for example, everybody's going to get around a dewormer in the fall. Everybody's going to get around a dewormer in the spring. And so moving away from that mindset, it can be difficult for some people, but all our parasitologists say that refugia is probably the most important thing we can do to minimize resistance in our cattle operations. Works very well in other segments of agriculture. We know that the challenge is working with your veterinarian to figure out where that refugia needs to be, which cattle we're not going to treat. And diagnostics comes into play there. We talk about stuff working hand in hand, the four pillars. Sometimes our diagnostics are going to dictate what our refugia is going to be. Sometimes it's the how the cattle look might dictate what the refugia is going to be.
Dr. Thomas, one of the things you hear these parasitologists talk about is the 80-20 rule. Can you talk about just a little bit about what they're talking about when they talk about the 80-20 rule with parasites?
Yeah, 80% of your parasites are in 20% of your animals. I mean, no one's got time to do a fecal egg count on every single cow and then run them back through and worm the ones that need it. But you start to notice patterns. I see a lot, like in the wintertime, those inferior animals will start to fall through the cracks, and that is not a time to deworm the entire herd if 10-20% of your cows are looking bad. Spot treat those cows and go on.
So as a veterinarian, when you're trying to implement refugia into a pretty good size operation like this one, how do you go about having that discussion? I mean, what animals do you pick? Do you have a protocol that you look at, or what do you base some of those decisions on who do you leave untreated?
I would look for whatever class of livestock they have that is under the lowest demand. Life's going to be easier on that set of cows, so that may be a good candidate for ones you skip. In general, that'd be your, middle-aged older cows.
I think maturity probably plays a role too in how cattle combat parasites as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. More mature, the overall healthier animals.
Fourth pillar, and probably the largest pillar in the group, pasture management. And I'm definitely going to pick on you here, Buck, because that's got to be something that you really have to think about when you start thinking about an operation this size and how you manage parasites with pasture rotation and pasture management.
Pasture management is probably the most important thing we do. I mean, we're, you know, a lot of old timers, they weren't ranchers, they were grass farmers, you know, and that holds true today. One of our biggest tools is pasture rotation. You know, we're not a extreme, you know, high intensity rotational operation. We're set up a little bit bigger pastures, you know, different size pastures, different size groups. We try to manage our group sizes to not overstock, you know, rotate pastures accordingly. I've always gone off kind of the take half, leave half rule. We really try to watch the pastures, watch the cattle. We move them cattle at a time that we can help with parasite control. You know, we sure notice a big difference again on hair coat and on our parasite load when we are able to move them cattle, you know, as needed.
Dr. Thomas, I know pasture management's big with your operation as well.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about how you manage pasture?
I rotate a little bit more intensively, but I don't really see a downside to it at all. You know, we know the vast majority of infective larvae are in the bottom 2 inches of forage. So if you keep your cows grazing above that, they're not picking up near as many. Cattle perform better. There's documented increased rate of gain on taller grass versus shorter grass. I mean, it's proven. Better for the pasture too. It grows back faster. You're sequestering carbon in the ground. Agriculture does not have to be extractive. You can graze cows and leave it as good or better than when you started.
And have a really nice symbiotic relationship among the two, yeah. What are some of the things that we overlook when it comes to stuff like pasture management?
The cattle are not just eating up all the parasites when we overgraze, but we're also doing damage to that pasture, all right, from a nutritional standpoint, because we're compacting the soil, disrupting the root system of that grass. That goes on long enough, I mean, it can take a long time for those pastures to recover.
Big thing on our operation is water retention. If we can keep cover on the ground, keep it shaded, keep the water in the ground, not running off the hills. You know, pasture recovery, you know, we're growing more forage, and that translates to me more head per acre.
Yeah.
And all that translates to, if you can do it economically, is a little bit better bottom line.
It's been a good discussion. I'd also like to finish by asking, why is the 4-pillar management program kind of worth it?
Parasiticides are a tool. They're a tool like anything else, like an implement, a truck, anything. And the 4 pillars help us keep those tools effective.
Yeah.
You know, they quit working, we're out of luck.
As a producer, I mean, we've got to use every tool that he's talking about. We've got to use every tool to our advantage. I mean, our price of our cattle is pretty well set for us. And so the best way to show a profit at the end of the year is don't waste money. You know, and don't waste money, don't let parasites waste your money. You know, use your pasture management. You know, all these different tools, if you're not taking full advantage of them, that's money out of our pockets. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a business.
At the end of the day, it's the poundage that counts, doesn't
That's right.
it? Yeah.
Yep, it's all about maximizing profitability of the gain that's out there, and we've reached a point with our deworming products that we've got to do something to make them last.
Guys, thank y'all for your input. It's been awesome. We appreciate you being here.
Yep,
Thank you.
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Yep,
Thank you, Buck, for
No, it's
letting
been
us
my
come
pleasure
out.
to have you guys out here.